Hi everyone, I'm Gina K from Gina K Designs and your host of Stamp TV. This month we've come out with some brand new colors of cardstock, and one of the things that I love to do when we come out with new cardstock is to see what it looks like when you bleach it. So today on Stamp TV I am going to show you how I bleach a piece of our brand new Wild Wisteria cardstock, and I'm going to pair that with some of our jelly bean green and a little bit of black onyx for an accent. Let me show you the tools and products you're going to need to make today's card project. First, you're going to need some stamps, and I'm going to use the thank you greeting from the new Flowers and Frames Stamp TV kit. I'm also going to use this butterfly stamp, and this butterfly stamp is from the Fight Like a Girl stamp set, and I just love this butterfly, especially for bleaching and embossing. It's got nice bold lines for embossing, so you get nice shiny thick lines, but it's also got a lot of nice open space for bleaching and coloring. So this is one of my favorite butterflies in our collection, and again, it's from the Fight Like a Girl stamp set. Then you're going to need some ink, and since I'm doing embossing, I'm going to use some VersaMark ink. Along with the VersaMark, I'm going to use the Embossing Magic Pad, and I'm going to be using some of the Gina K Designs Fine Detail Black Embossing Powder. Then for other ink, I'm using the new Wild Wisteria ink, which coordinates beautifully with our new Wild Wisteria cardstock. Then I'm going to use two Spectrum Noir markers. I'm using CG3 and CG4. I'm going to use a piece of the black plaid ribbon, and this is our 5/8 of an inch ribbon, and some Cuttlebug scissors for that. I'm also going to need some adhesive and some foam squares. For accents, I'm going to use some of our white pearls. These are from Eyelet Outlet, and we carry them at GinaKDesigns.com, and I'm going to be using some of these to accent the butterflies. For dies, I'm using some of the Silver Stackers dies. This is the Silver Circle Stackers. They're the layers dies. And then I'm also using the purple dies. These are the nesting dies, the circles, scallop circles, the inverted circles, and the plain nesting circles. All right, and then for cardstock, I have some, show you these colors, the Wild Wisteria, the Jelly Bean Green, Black Onyx, and of course some white, and that's going to be the greeting. All right, and then I have my Niji water brush, and with this water brush I'm going to be using just some household bleach, and I have that stored in a little Glad container on my desktop. This way I don't spill it or anything when I'm not using it, but you do have to change bleach often. It doesn't stay fresh for real long, so maybe about a week or so, and then you want to get some fresh bleach if you want it to really have the full potential of bleaching up your cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to start with this piece of Wild Wisteria, and I'm going to use the Embossing Magic Pad to rub all over the surface to get rid of any oil or debris that's on the surface of that piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to use the VersaMark pad and the butterfly stamp. So I'm going to ink that up real well, and the reason why I have this piece of paper underneath is because I'm going to be stamping off of the piece of cardstock, and I don't want to get VersaMark all over my desktop. Okay, so now usually when I am going to do a random pattern, I start right in the center with an image because I want to be able to see at least one full image of whatever I'm working with. But because I'm going to be putting the greeting right here, I'm going to put that full image up a little bit higher and kind of off to the side. So my first image is going to go right about here. Stamp that real well. This way we'll get to see a lot of it. All right, and I'm going to stamp another one. We'll do one down here, like this. We'll come in like this. And we'll do one up here. Just a little bit. There. And then we'll do one up here, kind of flying inward. Put that one right about here. Now you could stamp another one here if you wanted, but since we're going to have a greeting there that's going to take up quite a bit of space, I think I'll just let that go. Okay, so now I'm going to use some of the fine detail black powder. And sprinkle that all over that card. And blow away any excess. Now, if you had any excess, and I do have a little bit here, you can use a brush and just brush it off. The brush works really well too if there's something inside an image that it's hard to get to with your finger. You can just kind of dab over it and then it'll usually just blow away. So that looks like it is ready to be embossed. Now let me get rid of this excess embossing powder. And then we'll wipe away any excess there. And now we're going to hit that with the heat tool. And this butterfly, there's just so much substance to it. It embosses so nicely. You don't want to overcook your fine detail powder. Just wait for it to come up nice and shiny and smooth, and then you can move to the next area. It doesn't take very long once the heat gun heats up. Alright, looking good. Okay, so now you can see they're nice and shiny, those butterflies. So pretty. Okay, so now the next step is to bleach these. So I'm going to use this bleach that I have set up here. And I don't put the bleach in the tube of the water brush. I keep that for water. I just dip the end of the brush in. And then if you want to use the same brush again later for watercoloring or any other type of technique, just make sure you wash it real well with a little bit of soapy water. Or you might want to have two, one for water and one for bleach. So I'm just going to paint this bleach right onto these wings of the butterfly, but I'm going to leave the dots the darker wisteria. You can see this is coming up already. Look how pretty that is. Comes up very quickly when the bleach is fresh. If you're not getting any color change from the Gina K Designs cardstock with your bleach, it may be that you have old bleach. You can try to heat that up a little bit, sometimes that will help, but the bleach should really just get right in there and start lifting the color. And sometimes that same bleach will work just fine on your laundry, but it still won't do what it needs to do for the cardstock. Isn't this pretty? Right, get in there. This is so much fun and so relaxing to do. If you aren't sure what to do and maybe you've lost your mojo, just stamp out a whole bunch of panels and just sit and bleach all the different colors of cardstock and see what they come up like. It really does help you if you have a little swatch book that you make of all your colors of cardstock to know what coordinating colors to use. Because some of the colors don't bleach up to a white, they'll bleach up to maybe a lighter version of the color that they started at, and you can find matching cardstocks or inks or markers in your collection to match with that, so you know what to grab right away when you're ready to make a card. So that's a lot of fun right there, and look how pretty they are. Aren't they beautiful? Okay, so what I'm going to do, just to make sure that this is 100% dry, is I'm just going to heat it from the back a little bit. I don't want to heat on top of the embossing powder again, but if I heat it from the back, it will just bring up any bleach that hasn't already processed and make sure that it's dry for my next step for my card. Okay, so now I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock and the Wild Wisteria ink along with that thank you stamp. And I'm going to stamp that onto this white piece of cardstock. So now I have my nice greeting there. Time to do a little bit of die cutting. So I'm going to use my Cuttlebug. And some of you have asked me a little bit about the Cherry Lynn Designs machine. The Cherry Lynn Designs machine is my favorite die cutting machine. I have that at home. I use it all the time. I love it. But the reason why I use the Cuttlebug on set is because the Cuttlebug is real light and easy to move around, and it gets out of the way quickly of my scenes. So that's why I don't always use that when I'm making cards on Stamp TV, but I do love that machine. That machine requires no shims or anything. It's just a fabulous machine. But it is big, and so it's better for a more permanent situation. It's not as easy to transport it around. Okay, so now I'm going to use the Circles Stackers Layers die, and I'm going to cut out this greeting. And I'll put that aside. Then I'm also going to cut out another white one, and that one is going to be with the next size up, which is actually one of the Circles nesting dies, not the stackers. These are, I mean, not the layers. These are the purple ones. On our website, if you're looking for the purple ones, they actually look like they're multicolored on our website. That is the picture provided by Cherry Lynn Designs, so we use that picture so it's accurate size-wise, but the dies all come purple, but on the picture they're multicolored, they're rainbow-looking. So it'll be easier for you to find them. So now my next step is going to be to cut out this black piece of cardstock using the inverted circle. And then my final one, there's my inverted circle, and my final one is going to be a piece of Jelly Bean Green with the Scalloped one. That's the Scalloped die there. And we'll cut that out. And that is going to make my greeting. So there is that one. So I'm going to put those aside. And then my next step is going to be to color this ribbon. Now I want my ribbon to match my card project. So even though the black and white will look very pretty with the card, once I add some of that green in there, I wanted to make the ribbon kind of a black and jelly bean green. So I'm going to use the CG3 marker, and I'm going to use the chisel end, and I'm just going to color this ribbon using this marker. It dries pretty quickly. Make sure that that's all I need. Yep, that'll do it. Maybe I'll do just a little bit more. So now I have a piece of black that matches the jelly bean green. Isn't that cool? So easy to do. All right, so now I'm going to mount this onto my piece of black cardstock. And then I'm going to color these butterflies. I want to colorize them a little bit still leaving some of the white showing from the bleach, but I want to colorize them a little bit to match that jelly bean green. So I'm going to do that by starting with the CG3, and I'm going to use the brush end. Let me find the brush end. Here we go. There's the brush end. And all I'm going to do is just pull some color out like that. Just like that. And I haven't had any problem coloring over embossing powder, so you could try it maybe with whatever alcohol markers you're using and see how it works. As you can see, I'm just kind of feathering color out on those wings. Sometimes I'll call them petals. They're so pretty. The butterflies look like flowers. All right. A little bit more. And then we're going to add, and you'll notice that some of that color's coming up a little bit more yellow because that bleach is still on there, so you might be bleaching out a little bit of the marker if it's not 100% dry. Now I'm going to move to the CG4 marker, and I'm going to add a little bit of a deeper green in the center, like that. And this also coordinates with jelly bean green. It's the same tone, just not quite as bright. And this is going to lighten up a little bit too. I'm not pulling it quite as far out as I pulled the first one. And the last one over here. Now I'm going to go back over that color with the CG3 again to kind of blend it together a little bit. And you'll see as the two colors blend together, it starts to soften up the look of the darker one. This is so relaxing to do. You'll love making this card. And you can convert this card into a birthday card by using the same type of greeting that came in our Birthday Blessings stamp set. That was the Birthday Essentials kit. Or any other type of greeting you have in your collection, you certainly can use to create a card for whatever occasion you need it for. Now I'm going to add this piece of ribbon. So I'm going to trim that down to where I finished coloring it. And I'm going to attach that on the back. That's going to go right about there, so I want that to be a little bit centered. Okay, and we'll do that with some of the mono adhesive. Make sure that's nice and straight, and it is. And then this whole panel is going to go on top of that jelly bean green cardstock. So we'll do that now. And whenever you're working with ribbon, it's always nice to add a little bit of tape onto the ribbon itself, especially if you've colorized the ribbon, because sometimes it's a little bit damp still, and that little extra tape will secure it. Okay. Now I want to add a little accent. So I have these pearls, and these are the self-adhesive pearls. And I'm just going to pick those off and put a little accent onto each butterfly body. And that pulls in a little bit more white and helps accentuate the edges of the butterfly wings. And it'll also pull in the greeting because the greeting is white as well. So there we go. There are the pearls, and if you feel better, you can always put a little bit of glue underneath them, but they hold pretty well. And now I'm going to assemble my greeting layer. So the greeting is going to go onto the black inverted circle, and then that whole panel is going to go on top of the white one, so you get that little beaded edge that I love. And that whole panel is going to go on top of the scalloped circle. And then that is going to get applied with some of these foam squares. I like to add the foam squares to the sides of the circle when I'm putting it around ribbon so that it doesn't kind of press down or look lumpy around the ribbon. Kind of gives it some dimension. Okay, and that's going to go right about here. So there is my finished card project. I hope you've enjoyed today's video project. Stay tuned for more projects here at StampTV.com.